Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to Hobby Blog. Today we are doing a non-Spooktober review. Today we're going to be talking about Death Promise. It is from the year 1977. So I've always maintained that 1977 is one of the best years of all time because of Suspiria, because of a bunch of movies. I can't really think about specifics right now. But it's directed by Robert Wamflesh. Wamflash, I think his name is. But this is definitely one to be watched along with Miami Connection. And just the most out there 80s films. Although this is 1977. So it's definitely ahead of its time. Every kill is absolutely ridiculous. The soundtrack is very funky. Instead of Miami Connection, I think I would compare this more to Really Dynamite, which is a blaxploitation film. It's actually filmed at the same locations as Really Dynamite, which I was surprised about, but this movie is just the cheesiest of action movies, and it's a shock to me that it came out in 1977, because most of these movies like, Miami Connection, or really any of the cheesy movies that you see on like Riff Tracks, or like Mystery Science Theater, they're all in the 80s or 90s, and so this movie is just absolutely bonkers. It's about a kung fu master or something like that who is living in like a really shitty apartment with his dad or uncle, and he and all his dojo people who he like works out with, they all live in the same place, and the landlords are like stiffing them basically with fees and rent and like all the stuff, and they're like, eventually we'll fight back, like all this stuff. And it is just so awkwardly done. I think it's supposed to be like a commentary on like gentrification, but like it was so cheesy. Every single time anybody punched, anybody kicked, they were just like, ah, wah, just like screaming, like every fucking action they did. And it was awesome. This movie was just fucking hilarious. And it just blew me. I'm so happy I bought the slipcover. I just got this in the mail, like, within the last 3 days or so. Because it was below 100 slipcovers. And I was like, fuck. I missed out on Action USA. Gotta make sure I have this. And here it is. And of course, I'm not disappointed. But there's just so many different things to talk about in this movie, and that requires spoilers, so I'm not going to talk about them, but this movie was just something else. I mean, the tagline of the movie is, "Filthy rich landlords get away with murder. It's time they pay for it." And that's the line. It's right there in the back. This movie, the structure is really bizarre because it's basically like a video game where it's like, okay, go attack this target. Oh, you got him? Go to this target. Go to this target, to this target. And just keeps going until the end, which is like supposed to be this epic, badass kung fu fight, but it's not at all. It is the most bizarre kung fu fight I've ever seen. And it's just such a treat to watch. It's not often that you find a really cheesy action movie, because White Fire is basically the last one that I've seen that was just as weird and hilarious as this one. And before that, it's Miami Connection. I mean, there's just so few action movies that hit this level of cheesiness. And I'm just so happy I own this. I mean, this is definitely going to be a fun movie to watch over and over again. And just drink to. I mean, it's just such a funny movie. every time someone punches or kicks, they scream on the top of their lungs. This movie is awesome. I highly recommend it. Our main character is like some Italian guy. It reminds me of like Rocky Balboa, where you're supposed to be like rooting for this guy. But like, unlike Rocky Balboa, this main character is just like really bizarre and just all over the place. So it's really hard to watch. But that's basically my review of it. It's really hard to get into it. I mean, I just think this is one of those movies that you just have to see to believe it. So, thank you all for watching.